back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and talking about and showing you how to use the Starfinder deck of many worlds. So to start with, this was published by Paizo, and I want to give a big thank you to Paizo for sending this to me to play around with and have fun with and review. So this is for the Starfinder role-playing game, and it's a bit of a peripheral, if you will, a little bit of a mini expansion. It is a deck of cards that is primarily used to create random worlds for your party to explore. So if your party goes off path and they decide not to do whatever the main adventure hook that you gave them, and they want to just go explore the galaxy and discover random alien races and random planets and do whatever they want, this is a tool to do that. You can yank this out, and if you need a quick idea, you can do it in about 5 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Here's my planet. Okay, here's some adventure hooks. Okay, you discover this planet, and here's what's there, and you meet these characters, and etc., so on and so forth. So now the main purpose is to make planets, but there are some other uses which I'm going to talk to you about later in this video while I'm showing you how to make it. But first, let's talk about what comes in the pack. So the first thing you have is the instructions, which come on a bunch of double-sided cards. You have this first instruction which says start here, and it gives you an introduction to the concept, and then it has a sample world on the back, which is really nice. I'm glad they did this because it helped me to visualize what was going on. And then we have explanations of what all the stats on the different sides of the cards mean, as well as a full explanation of how to make a world, and lots of keys, which is really good to see how the different up, down, arrows, and slashes affect all the different stats of that world. And then it has further instructions on how to use this system to create a whole planetary system, how to create moons of the world, how to create settlements on the world, and also how to create even just a non-player character, an NPC, to encounter on that world. So actually these cards can be used for a lot more than just creating that planet. But we're going to show you the basic way to use these now, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to talk about what I think of this, how it makes me feel, and I'm going to rate it and review it. Okay, so I'm about to show you how you do the main function of the Starfinder deck of many worlds. So after shuffling the deck, you draw the first card off of the deck, and here you can see that this is going to be the type of planet that our party is encountering. It is a terrestrial world with standard gravity, normal atmosphere, and the biomes are airborne, aquatic, arboreal, arctic, desert, forest, marsh, mountain, plain, subterranean, and it says 1 or 2 enormous continents make up the primary landmass of this Earth-like world. Then you have a list of all the possible variables on this world: religion, magic, accord, law to chaos, good to evil, and tech. Accord is basically how friendly they are towards you or to outsiders in general. So we're going to place this face up on the table to start our world that we are building for this random adventure. Then you draw the next card from the deck, and what you're going to do is flip it over. And on the other side, you see it's got lots of other things, and this is depending on where you put it underneath the world. The first card you draw goes underneath the bottom, like so. And the first thing that it affects is with these up and down arrows, or in some cases, let me find a better example actually. Here we go. Here's one. Let me put this back because this one has some dashes. So you will have up arrows, down arrows, and dashes that go underneath each of the variables of that world. And that will directly affect what that means. So in the law to chaos and good to evil, this world is rather neutral, whereas this has almost no technology but good magic, is very friendly, and it looks like it doesn't have a whole lot in the way of religion. And you can see that from the up and down arrows and the neutral dashes. In addition, here we have star fields, which are going to come into effect in a moment, and we have a plot hook. So the first plot hook we have gotten is a vast library of information, repository, or artifacts, or menagerie of species, either privately or publicly owned. So this is something that is present on this world and can be used as a plot hook for the adventure that our party is going to go on. Now, the next thing we do is we add a second plot hook. in case they need it. That's the only thing that really matters on the second card is the plot hook, and that is home to sapients that must generally consume a rare or tightly controlled substance or die within days. So here we have two major plot hooks for this world. Then, based on the first star fields, we're going to show what species of sapient and threat species are on this planet. We draw a number based on the first star field. So we're going to get 5 sapients, 6 threats. So we draw and we put them underneath. Now, the first one is going to be the most common down through the least common. So in this case, Ferens, which are in the Starfinder Adventure Path number 2, are most common, followed by Tieflings, which are in Starfinder Alien Archive 2. It tells you exactly where to reference them. Now, if you draw one of these to a book you don't have, you can just discard it and draw another one and keep going. Then our third most common is going to be the Endiphians, which are in the Starfinder Adventure Path number 7. I'm going to slide that under. Number 4 is going to be the Ikeshti. And number 5, our final sapient race, but is the least common, are going to be the Han, which are in the regular Starfinder Alien Archive, which so are the Ikeshti. They are also in the Starfinder Alien Archive. So now this is the most common to least common, and those are all the sapient races that are here. Now let's find some threats. So threats, now we're going to get 6 threats, and the most common is animated armors, which are in Starfinder Alien Archive 3, followed by Paraphorin, also in number 3, or, how do I pronounce that? Orokorin, which are in the regular Starfinder Alien Archive. We're going to put that underneath. Diatha in Alien Archive 3. Tsitsimiti, which are in Alien Archive 3. I have trouble sometimes with some of these pronunciations. And the final one is the De Nola, which is in the regular Starfinder Alien Archive. So there you have it. Now I have created a complete and total world here, and I did it really just in about under 5 minutes. And with that creation, I now know lots of stuff if my adventuring party wanted to go on a random adventure. Now, I could also do this to find out, I could draw a random star field to find out how many moons this has, and I could find out what each of the moons is like, and I can even do this to create an entire solar system. There's also instructions in here to use it to create a specific settlement within the planet, and also to create a specific NPC and how friendly or not friendly they would be, how religious or not religious they would be, etc., where they are in the Lord of Chaos and good to evil scale, etc. On this world. So this is very multi-purpose in that way. So there you have it. This is how the deck of many worlds works to create a random world. So let's head back over and we're going to talk about my opinions on it, and I'm going to rate it. Welcome back. So, all right, so let's start with my thoughts and opinions on the various elements of this. So first off, the artwork is really cool. There's some really funky looking worlds in here. I really like the irregular worlds because they're so bizarre. Like here is a disc world. Any Terry Pratchett fans out there might appreciate a disc world. They also have some very regular looking worlds. I used in my example a world that was very much like Earth, but they also have like gas giants and such. Then the illustrations of the various aliens you can encounter are the ones from the Alien Archives. Now, you do need to have at least some of the Alien Archives, and in some cases even some of the adventure paths to use some of these. Of course, there's plenty that are just from the first Alien Archive, so if you don't want to use any of those, if you draw one of them from one of the aliens, you can just discard it. Or you could, sometimes you can, rather than do this randomly, you can do this ahead of time and pick what you want your players to encounter. But to get the best use out of this, and this is a bit of a little bit of a disclaimer and a warning, to get the best use out of it, you should at least have Alien Archives 1 through 3, if not also some adventure paths, because there are some aliens in here that are specifically from certain adventure paths. Okay. That being said, the system is very easy to use. It's very easy to make these planets. I like the way the two cards fit together so that you could have this planet come up multiple times, but if it gets different things underneath it, it's going to be a totally different planet, and the way those affect the religion, magic, accord, law to chaos, good to evil, and technology. And I like how that does that. Also, I like how then, depending on what random numbers you pull up, it's going to affect how many common sapient species and how many common threat species are on this planet. And that also will mean the same card will come up and be very different from time it comes up to next time it comes up. And that's really cool. Generally speaking, I like the ease of use of this. I also like that they put in instructions to use it for other than the main purpose. Obviously, the main purpose is to make a world, but I love that then they're like, okay, and then as a minor addendum, you can then draw a random star field to see how many moons that world has, and then what are each of the moons like. And then the accord there tells you how those moons feel about the people on the main planet, which is kind of really cool, because then you could get into in the middle of a multi-world dispute that's going on between a planet and one of its moons, which could be really interesting. And then you could also use this to make an entire solar system. This I wouldn't recommend doing during a game, but maybe if you wanted to do it to come up with a whole campaign idea, a series of games, you could use this to make a random solar system and use all the plot hooks in there to come up with a whole way that those planets fit together with each other in the same solar system, fit together with their various moons, relate to one another, and plot hooks for a full ongoing campaign for your players to get into. That would be something I would say to help you come up with a campaign idea between games, though, not something to do during the game. The basic planet construction is so quick that you could definitely do it during the game because it takes less than 5 minutes. You can just slap them out very quick, very easy to use. And in that regard, I think it's a really, really cool little expansion to Starfinder. So now, is this a necessary expansion? No, you don't have to have this. This is not a make or break for Starfinder. You can come up with your own stuff yourself. But is this a really cool expansion? And the answer is yes. This is really fun. I think it's a really neat way to help spark ideas, which is what it's intended to do. I mean, we've all been there where your players need to go, decide they don't want to take any of the plot hooks you've offered that week. And they want to go off and they want to do something else. And then if you're good and you're quick and you've got some ideas, you could be like, okay, you do this and you come across this and this is what happens. But sometimes we've all had to be like, okay, let's take a short break. Everybody get some drinks. I need a moment to think. This would help you with that. If you need a moment, you could be like, okay, give me a moment, deal out some cards, be like, ooh, here, I got an idea based on what I just dealt out. And that's what I think this is best for. And this is really cool in that regard. So the production is really nice. They're glossy finish cards. The art on the various illustrations of the worlds is really cool. I especially like a lot of the weird worlds like this. Look at this donut-shaped world here. These are really awesome. I love the bizarre ones. There's plenty of regular ones also that are just spherical and look like various regular worlds, if you will. But it is very fantastical and very interesting. I like the artwork. I like the look of it. The mechanics are easy to understand, easy to do. And once you make a couple of worlds with this, you're going to be zipping these out really fast. My only downside is, like I said, you really do need to have at least the 3 alien archives to get the use out of most of the creatures in here, if not some of the adventure paths, so keep that in mind. But I really enjoy this. I think this is really fun. I think this is a really, really cool mini expansion, and it only sells for, it's $19.99 US, so it's not that expensive. This isn't going to break the bank. I'm going to give this 7 out of 10 stars, because I think this is really enjoyable. And you know what? If I were to run a campaign of Starfinder, I would definitely use this. This is a really cool little thing. So again, 7 out of 10 stars for me. That is a big thumb up for me here. If you enjoyed this review and tutorial on how to use the Starfinder deck of many worlds, be sure to give it a like. Share it on all forms of social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, either on this video or on the Starfinder deck of many worlds, be sure to put them in the comments down below. And until next time, game on.